in case former chairman.
సారీ రామారావు గారు, మన ఇద్దరికి లేట్ అయిపోదాం చాలా. మీరు అన్మ్యూట్ చేయండి రామారావు గారు, అన్మ్యూట్. ఆ మైక్రోఫోన్ మీరు క్రాస్ అది కొట్టండి. అన్మ్యూట్ చేయండి. దేర్ బాగుంది ఇప్పుడు.
ఓకే,
యూ కెన్.
వినిపిస్తుందండి మీరు చెప్పేది?
వినపడుతుంది. యూఆర్ ఆల్ సెట్. మిగతా వాళ్ళు అక్కడే సెట్ చేయాలి మనకి, అంతే. మన హరి గారు న్యూజెర్సీలో పాప ఆయనకి చాలా రెడీ అయిపోయింది. పావుతో 1 గంట ఆల్మోస్ట్ అయింది రాత్రి. దట్ ఈస్ వెరీ గుడ్. జ్యోతి ప్రజలలో జరిగింది కాబట్టి ఇంకా మొదలవుతాం సభ.
To check the speaker. is aimed at curriculum of officer for their consular wants to have a correct course at IIT Hyderabad. There's something called as a fractional credit, which is only 0.5 credit, which means the whole course runs for 2 weeks. And then you also have a course that runs for 1 month, or you have a course that runs
No.
for
Why it is
the
coming
whole
like that?
semester.
Leave meeting, why it is coming display?
So these are IIT Hyderabad has always been
It's not
reinventing its
showing
academic
for me.
culture within the campus, as well as being a post-grad experimenting itself until 2022. So these are some of the glimpses I want to give for the new people who are here, or probably some of them are first time. Both in terms of idea ranking as well as the research, translational research, academic, and in India. And once again, I will make time. Director Professor here. Again, and once again, I welcome you all on the dais to IT Hyderabad campus, and all the delegates. Please feel free to move around our campuses. Of course, there's a lot of construction activities going. Whenever it is permitted, that we feel free to move around and have a view of our campus. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir, for your words. Now I would like to request Dr. Hari, Chair, Sweet Foundation Global University, to kindly address the meeting.
Good morning.
Hari sir, I would like to request you to address the gathering.
Sir, hello. Sir, మీరు
Yes, okay.
Yeah, Dr. Hari, you can start.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for the graceful introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the global participants and eminent speakers from various governments, NGOs, civil societies, academic institutions, and my dear students. A warm welcome to all of you. And I would like to thank the Lead Foundation Global for organizing this EDU-TECH 360 conference on the occasion of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's 91st birth anniversary. And we have three different tracks. Track one is leveraging the digital revolution and innovation in the education sector, led by Dr. Prakasham Tata from Chicago, Padma Shri Dr. S.V. Rama Rao, Mr. Venkatesh Krishnamurthy, founder and CEO, Wharf Street Strategies from United Kingdom, and also addresses by Dr. Jim Samuel, Associate Professor, and Dr. Sabita Singh Bidasi, Director from Texas, and Ms. Rania Lampo, Global Educator, STEM Instructor, ICT Teacher from Greece, and Mr. Swapnil Agarkar, Chief Executive Officer of Aries. And also on the track two, which is Challenges and Opportunities in Education, Dr. Shaukat Ali Mirza, Professor Kavi Arya, Mrs. Padmavati, and Commandant Ram Vinod Prasad, Dr. Rajiv B. Sharma, and also Mr. A.L.N. Murali. And then the track 3, which is enhancing employability, upskilling, and graduate attributes, led by Ms. Meryl Talakima, Director, Lead Foundation Global from Sydney, Australia, Dr. Deepak John Matthew, Head of Design and Professor of IIT Hyderabad, Dr. Vivek Pidampalli, Co-founder, Inku Lab Foundation, Dr. Josna Ayagari, President Prema Pravinya, Mr. Manav Subodh, Dr. P. Karunakar Reddy, and Mr. Narasimha Raju Kasireddy, Senior IT Leader and Founder. So this is a very interesting topic, EDU-TECH 360 with all these 3 tracks organized by Lead Foundation Global. Thank you so much for doing that on the occasion of Bharat Ratna Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's 91st birth anniversary. A great way to remember and pay tributes to the people's president and a great leader India ever produced. As you know, Dr. Kalam was born on October 15th, 91 years ago on this planet in a small fisherman village called Rameshwaram in South India. He started his schooling as a paper boy, became an aeronautical engineer, a rocket scientist, a missile scientist, and received the highest civilian honor, the Bharat Ratna from the Government of India, for his selfless and dedicated contributions to the nation. Finally, he became the 11th President of India on the 25th of July in 2002. During his presidency, he created the Grand Vision 2020, a well-defined roadmap to transform India into a developed country with a focus on 5 areas: education, healthcare, agriculture, information and communication, infrastructure, and critical technology. Later, as guided by his spiritual guru, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, he added the 6th one, developing spiritual families to establish peace and harmony in the society. His dream was to see India as a developed nation by 2020. He also promoted the concept of Pura, providing urban amenities in rural areas. He had a stellar career. This legend, who was larger than life figure, became a signature for his simplicity and humility. He was popularly known as the People's President. Dr. Kalam continued to serve even after his presidency and mentored millions of youth around the world, including me. His dream was to teach until his last breath. While addressing the IIM Shillong students on July 27, 2015, on the topic of creating a livable planet Earth, he suddenly collapsed on the stage and left this planet after orbiting around the sun for 83 times and finally entered God's synchronous orbit. I'm very proud to have associated with Dr. Kalam and the movement he initiated to transform the youth into responsible citizens and engage them in developing the nation. Lead Foundation Global is the brainchild of Dr. Kalam's Vision 2020, founded with a mission to provide affordable quality healthcare, affordable quality education, preserve and protect the planet for future generations, and develop spiritual families to establish peace and harmony in the society. During the COVID pandemic, it disrupted the healthcare, education, economy, and employment. Due to restricted mobility, UNESCO estimated over 1.5 billion students are impacted. The pandemic has created an opportunity and undeniable challenge. This may require partnerships between institutions of developed and developing countries to share the knowledge and resources to upskill, reskill displaced people with employable skills. One of the primary objectives of this international conference is to do exactly that. So Lead Foundation Global has been hosting a series of webinars, partnering with synergistic organizations and individuals on the sustainable inclusive development. Dr. Kalam dreamed of providing affordable quality education and enable youth to pursue their passion to become Bharat Ratnas. As you know, United Nations was established on October 24, 1945, after World War II, to focus on many things, but in 2007, they launched the 8 Millennium Development Goals. In 2016, they launched 17 Sustainable Development Goals. In spite of all the efforts, it required about $5 to $7 trillion in annual investment from the member nations. But due to COVID, that money is not a reality And the pandemic really disrupted a lot of these ambitious SDGs. In spite of all the efforts, we still have about 1.3 billion people in multidimensional poverty. Over 700 million people still live in extreme poverty. More than 1.6 billion people live in fragile healthcare settings. And COVID exposed those challenges globally. More than one of every 3 women have experienced either physical or sexual violence at some point in their life. Over 100 million youth worldwide lack basic literacy skills, and more than 60% of them are women. So that like this, there's so many problems, including the climate change that is happening, and you can witness in Hyderabad, especially the continuous rains for the last several months is really disrupting the market and affecting the day-to-day life of the individuals. And these are the issues of the SDGs that have to be addressed, and we are making an every attempt to do so. And one of them is this EDU-TECH 360 conference with the 3 tracks: leveraging the digital revolution and innovation in the education sector, challenges and opportunities in education. And third track is enhancing employability, upskilling the graduate attributes. So I'm proud to associate on this occasion with IIT Hyderabad, which is hosting this very historic conference on the education with eminent global speakers to fulfill the dream of Dr. Kalam, who always wanted the students to dream big and aim high in life and acquire knowledge, work hard towards achieving their dreams, even on the times of difficulty like these. Finally, learn to manage failures and success in life. On this occasion, I would like to echo the great American President John F. Kennedy's words to his fellow Americans during his inauguration. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Like another great leader, Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Let's give back to our communities and collectively transform this world. Finally, I would like to recite a favorite poem of mentor Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam on this 91st birth anniversary. It goes like this: where there is a righteousness in the heart, there is beauty in the character. When there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. Let's focus on building the character of our youth to bring peace and harmony into this world. I'm hoping that the expert speakers of this webinar will be sharing their views and recommendations to provide affordable quality education, which was the dream of Dr. Kalam. I would like to thank all the eminent speakers, volunteers who worked hard from different countries to make this conference possible. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank all the government and non-governmental organizations, academic institutions, especially IIT Hyderabad, its faculty, staff, and students for hosting this conference, and the media partners for supporting us in organizing this webinar. Finally, I extend my grateful appreciation to the webinar hosts, MCs, and the executive team under the leadership of Dr. Ram Maruri, who worked relentlessly to make this event possible, along with Dr. Jayraj and Dr. Chintala, who supported Dr. Maruri on this. Once again, I thank each one of you for joining this historic conference. Look forward to working with each one of you in the coming months and years to transform this world. Thank you. May the spirit of Dr. Kalam guide you in life to realize your dreams. Stay blessed and stay safe. Thank you so much. Back to you, Dr. Ram. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to request our esteemed chief guest, Dr. G.R. Chintala, former chairman, NABARD, Hyderabad, to address the gathering.
Good morning to all. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the global audience. First of all, I want to pay homage to Bharat Ratna Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam on his 91st birth anniversary. The man who gave so much of a vision to the nation, aspiration to the students, and also a semblance of self-respect to the nation as a whole. All of us had a great respect for the man who rose from very, very humble or poor background and rose to the highest position. And in the process, actually, he had never left his confidence nor his self-respect. And in case if you just go to YouTube or for that matter, any kind of a thing in the net, you will find so many quotes of Dr. Abdul Kalam as to really what exactly the life. And one of the best definitions he gave that generally people will give up when you fail in some attempt. And he says that actually failure should not be taken as a kind of a thing. It is the first attempt in learning is the fail, F-A-I-L. Actually, I liked it so much. As chairman of NABARD, probably many of you might have read about it. NABARD is the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, which is the topmost developmental financial institution in the world, with a business of close to $100 billion, that is around 7.5 lakh crores, and with a profit of around 5,400 crores, which I just left the institution only 2 months back. Actually, we had quite a lot of a responsibility for the making the society much better place. Actually, we were into the agriculture and rural development. And here in this context, actually, I just want to tell the whole of the crowd who is listening, both in India and abroad, that quite a lot of attempts have been made by various people in the last 3-4 decades. Ever since the computers have come on the anvil and also the mobiles have come, everybody wanted to push the digital transactions in a very big way. And NABARD, being the developmental financial institution, which is the host for the financial inclusion fund of around 5,000 crores. Actually, we were pushing this kind of digital transactions in the banking sector for the past 1 decade. But despite all the attempts, actually the penetration was very low. But then came the big bang moment, that is the pandemic. Though pandemic was very bad in any case, and pandemic has created a lot of a distress, both economically and also in other way. But at the same time, for the technology part, actually, the pandemic has done wonders. Actually, I'll say that even the EDU-TECH also is the same thing. Why I just want to tell is that EDU-TECH as well as this kind of a digital transaction, they went hand in hand. If I really look into it, that is till 2019-20, that actually that our transactions in the digital transactions of the banking was very, very less. Hardly into few lakhs of transactions. Now today, every day we are making 1 trillion of transactions. And today actually in the whole of the world, India is leading with regard to the UPI transaction, where absolutely there is no transaction cost, there is no MDA fee, there is nothing else. And at the same time, substantial amounts have been being transacted. Now, if you just go around the place, even a small pushcart fellow also is going to put his QR code kind of a thing on a display. Just put the mobile and actually you are transferring the amount. And also many times actually these kind of these new innovations are creating quite a lot of a buzz. And actually if you look into the whole of the globe, actually United States is far, far, far behind the Indian context with regard to this kind of a transactions. Why I just want to tell is that the digital advances that had come had created a history with regard to both the education, banking, and also the society perception as a whole. Now take the case of education. Till 2 years back, or maybe before the pandemic, actually if somebody was telling that actually people can attend the classes online, and subsequently actually it was a kind of a utopian idea people are thinking about. But the moment the pandemic has come, even the normal schools have switched over to this kind of a digital way of teaching, and things have come so well. Now, if you look into it, actually that as a very big financial institution, actually we finance quite a lot of state governments at a very concessional rate to improve their school infrastructure and also the college infrastructure. And we found many of the state governments have brought the Microsoft, Google and others into their classrooms, because by having a kind of a tie-up with them, so that even the students in the rural areas are getting the state of that education with this kind of interactions. So now that is how this entire education had changed quite a bit. Now actually this, when this edu-tech kind of things are happening, I really found that there's so much of advance are happening. Now it is the time for all of us to see really how this edu-tech that is going in the digital fashion is going to be more democratic, more accessible to the people, and subsequently really how it is. Actually, as Dr. Hari was telling that regarding the climate change, now actually climate change is real, and actually we had actually in our training establishment, we established a climate change lab, where actually we created the VR system where somebody can just put that one, and within the next 20 minutes actually that this entire VR system will take these people to a kind of a 3D kind of an experience as to really how the entire globe is getting affected, and really who is creating this kind of a problem, and what are the roles and responsibilities of each and every citizen. Now actually many of you who are in this academic line may be thinking that in the next 5 years or 4 years the whole of education is going to be converted into the digital, and it is an optional. And also many places now people say that formal degrees are not essential. It is only the skill-based things are essential. If that is the case, like quite a lot of a transformation is happening without our knowledge or with the knowledge, but both the things are happening. So now the time has come us to look into this kind of a new era of the educational transformation, where the digitization had played a crucial role. Now people, the students from IITs and also people who are into this kind of a thing, actually that you have to reinvent every moment, because you don't know who is the competitor, who is bringing with a new technology, what kind of things are happening. Now many of the technologies that are coming is actually already in Switzerland. Some 300 or 400 volunteers were already implanted with a chip. Actually they don't require any kind of an identification. Actually they can get anything done just by walking also. Now if that is the case, things are going to happen. And also you talk about the Saudi Arabia, now that Dubai, they say that by 2028 actually all the lawyers will be redundant in Dubai, because everything that you have to go for that kind of a legal recourse is already there, put on the web, and thing is simply you have to just speak or write the problem. Actually the legal counsel will come automatically on the system. So now when these things are happening, actually so much of a transformation is happening. We should really be aware of it. We should really invent ourselves, and we have to redesign the programs which we are doing. And also I say that actually because sometime back actually we are in one of the startup festival, and there many of the people told that maybe the time has come actually that everybody can learn anything without going to any kind of a formal school, and the degrees or maybe the skills they acquire online are going to be recognized in future. If that is the case, this edu-tech is the new change that is going to come. If the World War II had brought so much of a technology to the people, whether it is TV, refrigerators, pressure cookers, cars, and everything to the consumption of the masses, this pandemic of the 2 years had brought this edu-tech and also the digital transactions to the masses. Now today, even the rickshaw puller is able to operate his mobile phone to transact business. So now that is how the things are happening. And I wish that this particularly this session, this particular seminar, where the 3 tracks have been put into this one, very, very appropriate titles were there, and also the speakers were the most renowned. And we are going to get quite a lot of maybe information, and also a kind of a kickstarting kind of a thing for this new things that we are going to start. And as a lead foundation global, actually that after my demoting office as chairman of NABARD, actually they requested me to be here. So I thought that, okay, I can also be participating, because the nation has done so much to me, so I should also give it back. And now that is how I am associated with this. And I am extremely happy that this particular event is so good, very well designed, conceived, and also that I will say that all the people who are associated along with this foundation, that Engineers Without Borders, IIT Hyderabad, and also few people who flew from various places, from Bombay and others. Actually, I am extremely grateful to all of them being a part of this Lead Foundation Global. Once again, I thank every one of you, and also Dr. Hari Appanapalli, who is the chairperson of this foundation. And I wish that this foundation's work will go further in a much bigger way in the years to come. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir, for your words. Now I would like to invite Dr. Prasad Onkar, Associate Professor for the Design Department at IIT Hyderabad, for his remarks.
Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the participants, both in online and offline mode. So since we are running a little bit late in the schedule, I hope we'll not burn any more flags, so that there are very senior, distinguished people waiting online. So I thought we'll conclude the inaugural session, and we thank our Dean Administration, Professor Ranjit, for welcoming the gathering, and Dr. Hari, who is the director and the chairman of Lead Foundation Global, for giving us the overall picture of what this conference is all about. And I also thank Dr. G.R. Chintala, for who is also the advisor to the Lead Foundation and helping us in organizing this event. So with this, anyway, it's a inaugural session. We are concluding here, and then we'll start with the tracks soon, so that we can hear to all the esteemed panelists who are talking to us from different places of the world. Okay, thanks everyone, and again welcome to you all for the session. So so we'll start with the next track, maybe. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Prasad. I welcome you all to this EDU-TECH 360, which is targeted for promoting innovation in education and also empowering sustainability. As we all know, we are waiting for the much awaited thing, that is track 1, leveraging the digital revolution and innovation in the education sector. Now I request Bharat Maharaj sir, the chairman of EWB, to introduce our honorable speaker, that is Dr. Prakasham Tata sir, before he introduces our keynote speaker, Padma Shri Dr. S.V. Ramarao sir. Over to you, sir. Bharat sir.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are. So I must first apologize to Dr. Prakasham Tata and Padma Shri S.V. Ramarao. Based on the request, they agreed, but I know it must be around midnight. But I'm sorry for that, but we all are eager and excited to listen to you. And about me, they have given me 3 minutes, but I think I will complete within 2 minutes. So, yeah, I took 2 minutes. I always wear two hats. One is chairman Engineers Without Border, and the second one is where I earn my bread and butter, that is general manager of Pratt & Whitney. Pratt & Whitney is, all of you know, maker of aero engines. Probably all of you must have flown, or some of you who have not flown, probably in future you will fly. You will understand the accuracy of manufacturing aero engines. So as always I say everywhere that 99.99% is not good enough, because if an aero engine has 10,000 parts, 0.01% defective part, you will never like to fly in the aircraft which is having an engine which is having one component defective. So you can understand the the accuracy of the work what you are doing, particularly the students I am talking, because they understand, because sometimes we say that we didn't get mark and all that. I'm not talking about the marks, it's about knowing the things. So it is 100% what you should be doing. Regarding Engineers Without Border, both my company, like where I earn my bread and butter, and also Engineers Without Border, both the companies, we work on the projects on the ground. We, even though many companies, they work particularly NGOs, they work only theoretical projects and all that, but we work on project-based learning. We encourage all the students to learn from the projects. Doing projects on ground, we have done several e-learning centers in government schools, around 120 plus e-learning centers we have established. Several infrastructures we have done for boys orphanage, for the girls orphanage. I think many of my colleagues and those who have benefited, they are here and they will speak more on that. But with that, they are signaling I should stop. So thank you all for being here and trying to understand what we are talking about the EDU-TECH, how we can apply technology in education. Education should be available to the poorest of the poor people. That should be the particularly that should be the motto of the brightest students, those who are here online and offline and here in IIT Hyderabad. So thank you again, and again my apology, Dr. Prakasham Tata and Padma Shri S.P. Ramanarao Garu. And now I will leave the floor, and it's for you. Thank you again, and all the best.
Dr. Prakasham Tata sir, he is an environmental engineering and sciences professional and an active in the field for the past 60 plus years. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor. It's an honor to be invited to this wonderful webinar to celebrate the 91st birthday of the jewel of Bharat. I'm not that qualified when I have a great friend here, Dr. S.V. Ramarao, Padma Shri Ramarao, who has very personal acquaintance and friendship with Dr. Abdul Kalam. So I thought he's the best person to really give the glimpses, personal glimpses of his interactions with Dr. Abdul Kalam. Although I had a couple of minutes time at the Indian Consulate General office in Chicago to meet him in person, the legend of India. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. S.V. Ramarao Garu. Padma Shri Dr. S.V. Ramarao is a very well-known person in our community in Chicago. He has been the chief organizer of art exhibitions for national and regional associations like Telugu Association of North America and American Telugu Association, some other organizations. He's a very prolific writer and a great orator on many subjects, giving talks in USA, India, and England. In many universities, he's an invited speaker. He was honored by 3 presidents of India, believe it or not. He was honored by 3 presidents. I'm repeating it. Dr. Narayanan, Pranab Mukherjee, and Dr. Abdul Kalam. And by many chief ministers of Andhra Pradesh. He's a Telugu man, born in Gudivada. A small, humble background. From that, he elevated himself to Padma Shri. Great man, a very good friend. Many daily and weekly newspapers wrote about him. He published 6 books and articles on art and other subjects, and 10 more books are in pipeline in English, Hindi, and Telugu. Dr. Abdul Kalam spoke about our Ramarao Garu at the 200th Joint Parliamentary Session in Delhi, saying that within less than 2 years after his leaving India to England, that is Ramarao Garu, he created a new style in art, and he was on par with Picasso, according to the art critics in the world. There was a great honor to Sri Ramarao because of his paintings were exhibited in London along with those of Picasso. Abdul Kalamji escorted him and showed the Mughal gardens while reciting his poetry to Ramarao Garu and listened to Ramarao's poetry as well. He opened Ramarao's art exhibition in Delhi, spending 2 hours, this great man of India, Bharat Ratna, President of India, in this exhibition. Kalamji read 2 pages of an article on Ramarao's art to the surprise of the ambassadors and other elite who attended Ramarao's art exhibition opening ceremony. Padma Shri Ramarao is a very close friend of Abdul Kalamji and invited him many times to his office and spoke to him on a variety of subjects. I present my friend, a dear friend who lives in my area here in Chicago, and our friend Padma Shri, Dr. S. V. Rama, to all of you. Thank you. God bless you, Ramarao Garu. Take over. Thank you.
Namaste to all the participants, the great scholars and intellectuals who gathered here to celebrate the 91st birthday anniversary of our beloved late Bharat Ratna, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam ji. He as you know, as we all of us know, that he was a beloved person in India to all the young and old, to scholars and geniuses, and common village persons as well. As he was the man for people, so he was loved by all the people. He was a very, very simple person. His assets were, when he departed to heaven, 6 pants in the 2 DRDO uniforms, 4 shirts in that 2 DRDO uniforms, 2,500 books. That's what he was. It's not the wealth. He didn't have a single rupee for himself he kept. For 8 years, whatever he got, his annual pensions, gave it away, all the money, to the village he was born, to better the village. That kind of a great man. It so happened for me to meet him. I can only tell my personal experience, but you, all of you, have excelled in different fields of knowledge, and you know him so well. But I know him as an artist, and how he reacted to my art and writing. That only I can explain. In this whole conference, I only know 2 people. One is Dr. Ippanapalli, Harigaru, who I know very well, as he has been a close friend of Dr. Abdul Kalam ji for a long period. And the other one is who introduced me, Tata Prakasam Garu. Tata Prakasam ji is a social worker, a great engineer, a great speaker, and a good friend of mine and to all the Chicago community organizations. Without his help and participation, no organization in Chicago runs that well. Thank you so much, Tata Prakasam Garu. And thank you so much, Dr. Ippanapalli Garu, and to all the great people here. I went to India to paint, to repay my gratitude for giving me, a person who has been living all the time abroad, Padmashri Award. To pay gratitude, I wanted to go to Delhi, paint a new set of paintings and exhibit it in Delhi. That was the occasion. A friend of mine wrote a letter to Abdul Kalam ji asking him to give just 5 minutes of time to one Ramarao, who came from India, an artist and a poet. That was it he wrote, without letting me know. So after 3 weeks or something like that, I got a call from the President Secretary, and he said, Dr. Abdul Kalam ji would meet you for 5 minutes in his office. That was it. So I went there. And when I went there in the waiting room, there were so many people sitting there, and they offered some tea and jalebi and samosas in a silver tray with Indian emblem imprinted on the silver tray and cup and glasses. I drank along with others. And after 10 minutes, I was called by a military attaché to see the president, and he accompanied me. I was given 5 minutes, I knew. And in that 5 minutes, I brought a painting because my friends told me, when you meet President Abdul Kalam ji, take a painting and give him as a gift. That is courtesy instead of taking the flower bouquet. I took the painting, gave it to him. And I sat very close to him across the small table. Next to him, there was a big file on that it was written, Padma Shri Dr. S.V. Ramarao. I got scared. Probably somebody wrote about me in India. I don't know what he wrote and what he would ask. But anyway, I prayed God, look, whatever he asked, I would tell. Just 5 minutes. I came here to have a photograph taken. Then he asked me about where I studied and all these things. And then suddenly he got up. When he got up suddenly, and in the room, there are 3 doors closed, and all the 3 people came out of it and stood at attention. He asked them to stay there. And then he took me to the door, and he himself opened the door, and we went out, walking in the Mughal gardens. Then he asked me a wonderful question. That is, I never forget it. I realized all the great people don't waste words. When they ask pertinent questions. He said, Ramarao, I know you are an artist. What else do you do? I answered, what else do you do? So many things I do. But I said, I write poetry. Oh, what type of poetry? I said, I write about God. Would you tell me what you write? I said, I don't worship God like any other Hindu person. Because if I worship God, I approach him with fear. If I do anything wrong, I would go to Narakam. Or with fear, I go there to him, not with shoes or anything. But if I consider God as my friend, I would talk any nonsense and he won't get angry. So I considered God as my friend. So he asked me about it. Yes, I briefly I'd say. I told him that Prahlada was there and his father asked him to worship Shiva as he was their god. And Vishnu killed his father's brother and everyone, our clan. So don't worship him. But this kid went on saying, I only worship Vishnu and not Shiva. And that he got angry and he punished him in so many ways. And then Narasimha Swami comes and the father asks him, and where is he? He said, is he there in that pillar? And he broke the pillar with his gada and God came out. I wrote a poem. It was read at the Tana conference in Philadelphia, and there were 10,000 people yeah, they asked me to read this poem, and they published in the Savanite my poem. I told Abdul Kalamji, I wrote, Lord Narasimha, what great war took place between you and Hiranyakasipa? Not that much. And you have to kill him so cruelly, drinking the blood in your those cells, in your arm, and taking the intestines and putting the glass of milk. I told all these things. So I wrote it like that, sir. But he never gets angry. It was innocent. That kind of poetry I write it. And I go to the God, to the temple, with hesitatingly I go, and pillows to my feet to visit God, not to disturb him. Probably the God is taking rest in the temple, standing all the time. In that way, I worship him, to see him and his image fill my heart and come out like that. And then we were walking, and I told him, sir, I was given 5 minutes. I will tell you. Half an hour went by. We were walking through a bushes. There is a path among 2 rows of bushes. He said, Ramarao, can I read my poem? He said, yes. And yes, sir, I said. When I was walking one morning, and there was a twig of flowers fell down, broken by the wind. And if I had to go in this path, I had to walk over them. I looked at them standing, and the younger flowers were talking about with the mother. Mother, you shouldn't have given birth to us, because the animals eat us, human beings pluck us. The mother was telling to the young flowers, we got to be born and die again and again to soften the hearts of the human beings. That is the purpose of our birth. How do we like it? It's anonymous. And the same thing, so again I asked him, so 5 minutes I was given because of more than half an hour. I will tell you when we will leave. I said, sir. And told him, sir, I always remember in my lifetime telling all my friends and my relatives that I walked with the president. He was kind enough to give me the interview. And he said, Amara, I know about you well. What do you say? I'm walking with one of the greatest artists of the world. What would you say about it? He said, I said, humbly, it's your compassion, sir. I told him. Then, when he was addressing the 200th parliamentary joint session, and even Narasimha Garu, all the past prime ministers and presidents were invited for that, televised all over India, and suddenly he was talking about other things, and he said, it was a very interesting thing happened the other day. I met one artist, Dr. Ramarao.
Excuse me, sir.
America now. He went to England within less than 2 years. He was on par with Picasso and Gladstone. I hope India will produce that kind of geniuses. India produced geniuses in philosophy, engineering, etc. And then he concluded.
Excuse me, sir. Thank you so much.
He read to me in the parliament. Like that. Then the other incident was he opened my exhibition. He stayed there for 2 hours and asking me about each and every painting. And he loved one particular painting which I painted in the series of the interplanetary systems. He said, Ramana, why did you paint the whole painting in the black? I said, sir, on Earth, we see all the colors of the flowers and everything. And in the sky, there are no flowers, colors, and all these things. Probably planets going around themselves or around others. So I thought everything's black, and I painted whirlwind, planets, etc. He said, yes, in the space,
Dr. Ramarao, sir?
black.
Sorry for interrupting. We are very glad to hear your rich experience, but we would need to respect everybody's time. So if you could just wrap in a couple of minutes of time, it'll be great. Thank you so much.
So he painted many times. He asked me to come to his office and inquired the painting, and he wrote 2 pages and put in the internet. Lakhs of people read about it. That was my acquaintance with him, and was a great lover of literature. And he discussed about the painting and in general, about the world artists and poetry. And it was my greatest opportunity to meet such a great man. That was the only experience I have had with him. I shared with you all, and I'm here to listen. Friends with him. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Prakasham Thata and Padma Shri Dr. S.V. Ramarao, for your beautiful stories and your words of wisdom this morning. It truly has been an honor to be able to have you with us today. I would like to continue track 1 and call upon Mr. Venkatesh Krishnamurthy, the founder and CEO of Wharf Street in the UK. Recently, Mr. Murthy has been nominated for Barclays Next Level Award and has also won various accolades in the past few years. And his current EdTech project is called Connect Up. Mr. Murthy.
Very much. Good night. We'll see you again some other time. Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity that you gave us. Bye.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank Dr. Hari for inviting me.
Sorry to interrupt you, Venkatesh. I would like to request all the panel members to be on the screen in the video mode. For the track 1, I request our team to call upon all the panel members for the track 1. And I want all of them there on the screen, who are all the panel members for the track 1, please. Whoever is available in person, kindly come onto the stage, sit here for the panel 1, track 1.
Right. So firstly, I would like to thank Dr. Hari for meeting me in New York and pursuing me to be present here. It's really an honor for me to be here today at the 91st birthday of Dr. Abdul Kalam. So I'm here to talk about emerging technologies and how it basically has disrupted the education sector. So before I start, I think the energy in the room is a little low, maybe because it's a Saturday morning, but can we just greet each other with a good morning? So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. I have 10 minutes. I will use my 10 minutes very wisely, and I will add value to your life so that someone can take insights from that and make an impact. Now, what do you mean by emerging technologies? So back a decade ago, in the year 2012, if I came here and spoke about smartphones, then you all would be wondering, what exactly is a smartphone? What's the difference between a normal phone and a smartphone? But today, if you see, everybody has a smartphone. I'm talking about the local street vendors as well. Everybody deals with a QR code. That's what an emerging technology actually is. And what's contemporary about emerging technologies today? So I'm going to talk about 3 technologies. One is blockchain, The second one is augmented reality, extended reality, metaverse, virtual reality, all that comes in one domain. And then we have artificial intelligence and machine learning. So I'm going to tell a little about the technology, and I'm going to also explain how it has disrupted the education sector. Now, talking about blockchain. So what exactly is blockchain? Blockchain basically is an emerging technology that facilitates one to create transactions while creating blocks. So anything that happens as transaction 1 is added on to the next block, because every time a transaction happens, a block is created, and when a second transaction happens, that particular transaction is added to the existing block. Now, in this manner, we have loads of transactions added to every subsequent block. What does this do? This creates a chain of all the transactions, and with this, you basically cannot delete any information, you cannot manipulate any information, and it makes it very secure. How is blockchain? This is just to tell you about a brief about blockchain, but then I would want to move into the use case on how exactly it could disrupt the education sector. Now, just imagine that one of you take an initiative and create a blockchain network with all the students of IIT. Now, with that, you can have all the students, all the peers in one single network. And let's say you want to learn a particular course. Now, you can put problems out there, could be related to your academy, and anyone who comes up with the right solution, basically his information would be validated and it would be added as a block. Now, the best part about blockchain is that it is very transparent, and everybody who is in that network will get a copy of that solution to that problem. So this works just like broadcasting in WhatsApp through a group, right? So everybody who basically has access to that network will get. Okay, so basically everybody in that particular blockchain network will get access to that particular solution that has been created by one of the peers in that network. This is just one example wherein I can talk about how blockchain is relevant to the education industry and how exactly it could make an impact if someone creates solutions on the blockchain and wants to create a blockchain for his or her university. Now, I'll talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, metaverse, NFTs, all that is very contemporary. Now, when you talk about augmented reality, we are talking about using a particular device where you can create a projection. Now, how is this relevant to education and how would it basically create an impact? So in augmented reality, what you can do is you can create an application and you can actually project, let's say, any particular object. You can have like a car, for example. Now, when you talk about projecting a car, you can have all the parts of that particular car projected, and you can train students on an application by showing how the car, what are the parts of the car, and how exactly it can be assembled in augmented reality. Now, when you talk about virtual reality, you don't use a device, but you are in that immersive experience where you put on a device and you can avail training. For example, you use an Oculus Rift or an Oculus Quest, where you put it on your head, you put it on as a headset, and you can actually be in that particular training, and you can get training of how you can assemble a particular car and how you can maybe take classes on assembling a car or learning about the parts of a car. Now, I've just given an example about how virtual reality, so how virtual reality basically can impact the education sector through its training. If you talk about the work from home culture, now online classes that have been conducted can very well be conducted in the metaverse, where you invite all your students and you can have a projector and you can conduct a class in virtual reality. The metaverse is a little different to virtual reality. What happens in the metaverse is that you can actually own objects, you can perform tasks, you can basically purchase land, you can own something in the metaverse. It is not really very different from virtual reality, but then the factor of where you basically can own something is what basically differentiates it from virtual reality. Now, talking about the last technology, which is about artificial intelligence and machine learning, how has it impacted or how has it revolutionized the education sector? Back in 2020, when we had COVID, it was utopian that everything would move online. But as you see, most of the students have taken online classes. Even if you talk about social media, which has actually been it's been very active. People have been very active in social media and they have built their profiles and they have taken advantage of COVID. Now here in social media, how exactly does the artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithm work? So the information that you feed to that particular algorithm is what you get. Now, when you talk about, let's say, technology, yeah, or marketing or operations. Now, if you go to LinkedIn, for example, and simply put a hashtag and put technology there, or if you put blockchain, hashtag blockchain, or if you hashtag marketing, any particular topic, you get a refined search of people, company, events, videos, articles, everything in that particular search. So that is how this particular algorithm would work, and it would give you information according to that particular search that you wanted to have. Now, when you do that, it refines everything. Not only does it refine everything, but it also records information about you and that you have been searching about that particular domain that you're interested in learning about. Now, when you do this for a number of times, what would happen is then the algorithm would basically put back content. When you would open, for example, LinkedIn or let's say Twitter, it would give you information regarding your domain so that you basically open that particular content or look into that content and then enhance yourself. Now, that is how an AI and machine learning algorithm works in social media. Now, it's not the fact that you can actually learn from these technologies due to just the time constraint. Where I had like only 10 minutes to speak, I wanted to speak. I basically just wanted to give an introduction and tell you how exactly the education sector can be revolutionized by taking steps, like small steps, using these emerging technologies. But yes, I mean, there's quite a lot that you can do, and there are quite a lot of other technologies as well. I do conduct a lot of mentoring sessions in UK and in India for students on various emerging technologies. So yes, I mean, feel free to check me out. You just need to search me as Venkatesh Innovator on Google, and you'll get my information. You can attend some sessions which I conduct in different universities. Maybe it could be of help. It's not. It's basically a give back that I do. I do not monetize on it. It's just because I want to also do something back for my country. The reason why I'm here today is also because I have a very big vision of solving the problem of brain drain, and I vision India to be a superpower in the year 2020. And I hope I have added some value, though it was in a short span. Those who basically could connect with what I shared, I understand it's a little technical. It's not something very generic. But yes, as IITians, I definitely think that this is what you want. You might want to hear from one of the speakers. So that's the reason I came here and I spoke a little technical. I spoke some technical information. And I wish you all the best and thank you so much for inviting me today.
Thank you, Mr. Murthy, for educating us all today. I would like to call to the stage Dr. Jim Samuel, the Associate Professor of Practice and Executive Director of the Informatics Programs at Rutgers University in the States. Mr. Samuel is an information and artificial intelligence scientist with significant industry experience.
Okay, I'd like to thank all of the organizers and the leaders of this event for inviting me here. Appreciate it. Just want to confirm once again, how much time do I have? Is it 7 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes?
10 minutes, sir.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I've taken the liberty to use a few slides, and that is one of the only ways that I can cover all that I want to say in 10 minutes. The topic today is AI risks. Why should we prioritize AI education? A lot of my work at my lab at Rutgers University tends to be quite technical. We work with a fair amount of code and large volumes of data. My own expertise is centered around making sense of natural language. So we work with natural language processing, natural language understanding in particular, and we also dabble with some amount of natural language generation. And it's fascinating as to what's happening in those fields. In starting the session, I want to kind of motivate. The purpose of my session is to impress upon all of you listeners the fact that it is extremely important to focus on AI education. And I want to start the session by quoting our dear President Abdul Kalam, where he said, when learning is purposeful, creativity blossoms. When creativity blossoms, thinking emanates. And when thinking emanates, knowledge is fully lit. When knowledge is lit, the economy flourishes. And needless to say, that's when the country prospers. The question arises, what kind of education? So there are some areas of education like literature and history where the content remains the same. However, when it comes to technology, it is very important to constantly be in a state of dynamic change and follow the latest trends to make sure that our education is capturing SOTA, that is a state of the art. We hear a lot of talk about artificial intelligence. Pretty much every person has something to say about it. And if there are 10 people in a room, there's at least 12 opinions about artificial intelligence, and almost none of them seem to agree. And part of the reason is the organic way in which artificial intelligence has evolved and some of the complexities associated with AI as a multidisciplinary domain. In today's session, I don't want to get too much into the nuts and bolts of what AI is. Generally speaking, for the purposes of the discussion, I'm going to treat AI very simplistically for today's session. We can treat AI as a set of technologies that mimic human cognition and logic. So we are talking about taking technology and making that technology do what human intelligence does at par or better than human intelligence. For example, take the game of chess. It's considered to be one of the high points of human intelligence. And yet today, the best chess player is either a supercomputer or a supercomputer plus a human grandmaster. But it's definitely not a human grandmaster by himself or by herself. In today's session, I want to introduce two ideas for AI risks. Since AI is so powerful, AI is better at playing chess. AI is better at a lot of tasks, not all tasks, but a lot of tasks. In a lot of tasks, artificial intelligence is already better, way superior than human intelligence. There's a lot of emphasis by corporations and governments in terms of adopting artificial intelligence. Whenever a new technology is adopted, along with it comes a bag of risks. So in the first part of in the next few minutes, I want to kind of share a few thoughts based on my research on AI risk. I basically categorize it into two buckets. One is systematic AI risks and systemic AI risks. And for those of you who are from the world of finance can see that I'm kind of borrowing a concept from finance where we have this similar idea in the stock markets, the idea of systematic risks associated with individual companies, and then the idea of systemic risks at the market level. I also want to introduce another, what I think is currently, a few decades from now, this may be well addressed and may not be so important, but currently it's very important to also identify imaginary AI risks. Imaginary AI risks are those risks which are fantasized by well-known people, by the media in particular, and it really doesn't exist, or at least it doesn't exist in the way and form that it's publicized. So a simple way to look at risk is the likelihood of an undesirable event. It is a probability that something bad will occur. If we are 100% sure that something bad is going to occur, there's no risk. It's a certainty. And then we no longer associate, it's a bad event, but we don't associate the word risk with it. The risk is when good things are going on, and then we say there's a likelihood of something bad happening. And that's probably one of the best ways to look at AI. AI is a good set of technologies, and it's usually, we are dealing with multiple artificial intelligence. We are nowhere near one super intelligence or one integrated super intelligence. So we are talking about multiplicity of artificial intelligences. And associated with each of these artificial intelligences is risk. Systematic AI risk is the likelihood that a particular AI application could fail. So for example, if you have a self-driving car, what's the likelihood that the self-driving car does not behave as anticipated, runs into a fat tail event, runs into something very unusual that the car's sensors cannot accurately calculate or respond to, and it results in a crash. So that's the idea of systematic AI risk. When one of the artificial intelligences that we are using fails due to either internal error or due to unpredictable and extreme events in the ecosystem. We also have the failure of, for example, natural language processing systems, which have over a period of the past few years, we have seen that it contains bias. A very common bias is gender bias. Because NLP systems tend to depend on large volumes of real-world data, and because that real-world data contains implicit bias, it is reflected in these NLP systems. So when we use NLP systems for business, there is a high likelihood that those systems may discriminate against women, and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed and addressed transparently. The risk that that kind of bias against gender or against an economic class or against people of a particular race or a particular religious background, that the fact that it could occur is real, and that's one of the risks that we need to recognize as being associated with artificial intelligences. Systemic AI risk is the likelihood that an entire system of technologies fails, which means we have large-scale failure across a nation, across a continent, or across the globe. It could be due to a significant glitch. It could be due to a significant failure of technology, or it could be due to malevolent actors, such as large-scale virus attack or a large-scale and unanticipated interaction between very, very sophisticated artificial intelligences. All of these, any or all of these could occur, and it is very important for companies, individuals, and governments to be aware and to be prepared for managing the risks of artificial intelligences. So I mentioned at the start of today's session that we also have imaginary AI risks. Imaginary AI risks can be associated with hype. So for example, we have leaders like Elon Musk saying AI is a demon that is potentially more dangerous than nuclear weapons. We have folks like Stephen King, who are well respected in academia, at least in certain circles, saying that the full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. And then we also have other quotes. Sometimes they're misquoted, sometimes they're partially quoted. So one person was partially quoted, and that gave a kind of a wrong effect was Bill Gates. He was quoted as making an adverse statement against AI. But when you take the entire interview, you will see that he was just contextualizing. It was contextualized to a possibility that AI could go wrong. And then you have the publicity, the publicity that surrounds AI robots, and a number of these robots, which have made statements like, "I will destroy humans." And then we read more into it than there is to it. Part of the reason why such imaginary AI risks narratives thrive is because of mass AI illiteracy. People do not know what artificial intelligence is, and that's a huge problem. AI is all around us. Every single person who uses a smartphone is interacting with artificial intelligence. Every person who uses Amazon or Netflix is interacting with machine learning algorithms and is interacting with some form of artificial intelligence. And it is important for people to be educated as to what is this technology that they are dealing with. As long as people remain uneducated, such false narratives will continue to thrive. So, for example, a few months ago, we had this whole news that Google has created sentient AI, and this was announced in an interview by one of Google's own engineers. As soon as I heard about it and my team heard about it, we kind of went through what was described behind that headline and said, this is complete nonsense. It is utter and total rubbish. And fair enough, I think it was a few weeks later or a few days later, Google fired that engineer who made that statement, because we are nowhere near that kind of technology which could threaten human beings from an AI sentience or AI self-consciousness perspective. We don't have that insight as of now. We have AIs with capabilities that far supersede human intellectual capabilities. I don't think anyone will argue that. But we are, to the best of my knowledge, we are at the present point of time not anywhere close to a self-conscious, self-intrinsic meaning-generating AI that could overrule humans.
So sorry to interrupt you, sir. We have just one more minute to conclude. We
Thank
don't
you.
have any AI setup to interrupt you, sir.
That's
Sorry
perfectly
about
fine. Thank you for letting me know. I thought I had, and that's my last slide, so I was quite close. All right, so AI education is critical. I would say that every country, every nation must focus on early stage AI education. It is important to distinguish the levels of AI education. There's applied AI education. That is the most common form of education, where we teach people computer science, we teach people informatics and how to run Python code. That's applied AI education. But that is only part of the story. For real value creation, you need to emphasize AI theory education, and in particular, the weakest point, that is AI philosophy education, which will also be the most important point in the future. Finally, I want to end this session today by just humbly requesting every person here to do whatever is possible to emphasize that it is time that India as a nation and all countries all over the world would essentially have a motto that we need AI education for all people at all levels. Thank you once again for this opportunity. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jim Samuel, for impressing upon us the importance of education in AI and the different forms of risks. I would now like to call upon Ms. Rania Lempau, a global educator, STEM instructor, and ICT teacher trainer in Greece. Ms. Rania Lempau is also working at the Greek Ministry of Education and Religious Affairs, where she writes STEAM projects for Greek schools. She's also a Global Teacher Award in 2020 and 2021 winner, and a Global Teacher Prize finalist in 2019 by the Varkey Foundation. Thank you, Ms. Rania.
Warm greetings from Greece. I'm very, very happy and honored to be part of the EDU-TECH 360 event, and I would like to congratulate Lead Foundation Global for the organization of this great conference, and of course thank Dr. Hari for his kind invitation. We are at the threshold of the fifth industrial revolution already. The fourth industrial revolution is changing the world around us with artificial intelligence, robotics, big data, Internet of Things, and the main challenges are related to the exponential growth of digital tools that include robots and data centers, and the impact on jobs and industry that these tools create is huge. However, they also present huge opportunities to tap because we need highly skilled, but at the same time, flexible, emotionally and socially intelligent professionals that can solve tomorrow's problems already today. At the same time, the SDG Compass provides us guidance on how we can align our strategies as well as measure and manage our contribution to the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals. So education plays an important role in ensuring the skill readiness of the labor force, and to take full advantage of the opportunity created by advanced technology, we need a similar revolution in education. This calls for developing Education 5.0 experience that addresses the needs of the fast developing world around us. Of course, reshaping the curriculum is a considerable challenge, implying complex decision-making processes and various administrative obstacles. We could talk about 3 levels of change here. First of all, the content. We need to upgrade the technical side, of course, of the curriculum to accommodate the learning of next generation robotics, additive manufacturing, smart materials, but at the same time, incorporate non-technical disciplines in the curriculum, such as communication or project management or arts, in order to develop cross-cutting competencies and the mindset beyond technical expertise. That means that we need to pay special attention also to the question of ethics, of social inclusion, diversity, and sustainability. We need to incorporate sustainable development goals into our curriculum and offer a holistic view. At the same time, when a learning environment is concerned, we need to apply problem-based learning, project-based learning, inquiry, challenge-based learning, because we have to stimulate learners to work on challenging, authentic, real-life problems for which there are no established answers. So encourage learners to contextualize the theoretical learning in relation to how it would be useful in the world around them. So instead of focusing on standardized thinking, on correct answers and objectivity of judgment, we need to create a learning environment that would stimulate creativity and divergent opinions. Of course, create a culture that accepts potential failures and developing the ability in students to turn these failures into valuable learning experiences and relevant to real world working conditions. Encourage collaborative learning and stimulate technology, enable learning, encouraging the use of technology and applications for learning. At the same time, we move towards a paradigm of lifelong learning. So we need new patterns of collaboration that could be further increase the collaboration between the university of industries. That could be through internships or apprenticeships, mentoring, project banks, summer schools. Acknowledge the role of industry partners as education, research, employment partners, create more opportunities for exchanging experience with other educational institutions via thematic networks or joint platforms, facilitate peer-to-peer learning and create more effective learning ecosystems, because we need to shift from human-machine interaction towards human-machine collaboration as an evolving collaboration form. Because all experts of the fourth industrial revolution tells us that it has failed because the human factor is ignored. So in the fifth industrial revolution, humans go along with machines. The new trends now, when we talk about this education, this learning can be taking place anytime, anywhere. E-learning tools offer great opportunities for remote self-placed learning. Learning will be personalized, individual students. Students should have the choice to define how they want to learn. So we need to take into consideration their needs when we design the curriculum. Of course, we need more hands-on activities. That's the role of STEM here, and more project-based learning. So why STEM? STEM education, I'm a STEM educator. Because the economy shifts to more knowledge-intensive industries. So we must meet existing demand for skills and develop the skills of those who will drive technological future and productivity. So competitive STEM-based skills is vital. And STEM projects focus on inquiries, student-led investigations through open-ended real-life problems and hands-on activities. All this can empower students to become out-of-the-box thinkers and creators. We talk about inquiry-based learning, which is this process of identifying problems, of reviewing experiments, select alternatives, design investigations, search for data. And by implementing STEM projects in education, students acquire, of course, critical thinking skills. They're involved in the process of solving authentic problems and learn to collaborate in teamwork. and reflects to 21st century skills. We all know the 4 C's: creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, communicator. If we add the A, we have STEAM, the acronym STEAM, with arts, education, and the disciplinary approach attempts to promote research spirit, logical thinking, and social skills, and the places is emphasis on empirical, exploratory, discovery learning. So today we talk about integrated STEM. The great STEM, this effort to combine more of 2 cognitive disciplines at the same time. This is the magic of STEM. In one project, you can involve many cognitive disciplines. It is inspired by this maker space, the spaces that are open to kids and entrepreneurs that have a variety of maker equipment, including 3D printers or laser cuts and other machines. And what I believe is that we should bring computational thinking into the classroom, because this model of thinking is important to every student. This computational thinking entails abstraction, how to see a problem at different levels of details, algorithmic thinking, tendency to see tasks in terms of smaller connected discrete steps, decomposition. Solving the problem involves solving a set of smaller problems, and pattern also recognition. Physical computing, very trendy, at least here in Greece. Why physical computing is important? Because it's considered as an appropriate tool in order to combine digital elements with the real world, because it develops a communication between the physical world and the digital world of the computer. And this physical computing takes the computational concepts into the real phenomena so that the student can use them in authentic environment. When we ask students, for instance, to use Arduino and take measurements of pressure or humidity in the class or in the house, this is an excellent project for students in order to promote this physical computing. Of course, already previous speakers have mentioned about other educational technologies that can promote STEM education, such as virtual reality, augmented reality, or Internet of Things, or cloud computing. So we talk about innovative approaches, innovative teaching strategies, such as more hands-on, more mini labs, more science exhibitions, anything that could help teaching become more engaging. My involvement in STEM was actually through my participation in an innovative pioneering program organized by CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. And there I had to teach particle physics to primary school students. So it was a big challenge. It was a program organized by the CMS, also particle experiment. And there it was focused on experiments conducted by students themselves, in order for them to become familiar with complicated scientific concepts, particle physics and physics in general. So we had to invent innovative scenarios and lesson plans to motivate the students and get acquainted with new teaching approaches. So the challenge is what I had to face here. I want to share with you. First of all, I had to redesign the curriculum because yes.
We've got a couple of more minutes to go.
Yeah.
We love your energy, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to say the challenges that I had to face was I had to teach the privileged children, so we didn't have any technological equipment. So I have to say here that still, when we don't have this equipment, we can work miracles with our students because we can adopt the STEM Unplugged. And I had to redesign the curriculum. I said before, I had parents who told me I don't want my student to be involved in STEM. It was something new, innovative. So I had to convince me about the value of STEM. Apart from this, I want to say that I'm organized here in astronomy. I was among the first who introduced them in astronomy. I'm collaborating with the Greek Astronomy Space Company, and also I'm the founder of many innovative humanitarian STEM projects addressed to the privileged children in Africa and Asia. One was in Africa and Malawi, water awareness to students. It had a great impact. We managed to obtain sanitation fitted equipment for these students through STEM activities. And these children didn't have any school supplies at all. It used only natural resources. Another one about food awareness in India. It inspired teachers who visit slums, educated families, donated the money. Another about gender-based violence, where I adopt gender-based violence awareness STEM education. And finally, here in Greece, I launched a new program, which is called SOS, with changing the Earth's climate. It actually combines environmental awareness with STEM education and arts. And also I'm teaching as a volunteer, STEM here to students with special education needs, to refugees and the Children's Biological Hospital. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Raina Lampu. Thanks for the insights you provide us, and I hope it will benefit to all the participants here in online and offline. Thank you. Yeah. Since we are running a few minutes late, we'll be taking a early break here, so we can break for 5 minutes. We'll have a quick tea break and then we'll convene back. Same thing with the online participants. You can just stay connected for another 5 minutes and we'll be back. So the
children are more curious than adults. And those of you who have young, very children would agree with me that they go on asking so many questions. Many times we get tired and we say, ask your teacher. So this boy or a girl tries to get answer from the teacher, and the situation there is not very good. I would like to share one of my experiences when I was in school. Our teacher came in the classroom and started teaching that the air that we see has different components. Nitrogen is the highest percent. So nitrogen is 78%, oxygen is 21%. And then she was writing carbon dioxide. Then before she wrote the percentage of carbon dioxide, I stood up and asked, teacher, before you write the percentage, please let me know, how could even one doubt that the air that I cannot see should have more than one component? Unless one doubt, they will not find out, and then percentage is a latter problem. And as happens in the classroom, the teacher scolded me and said, don't show your smartness. Such questions are not asked in the examinations. In the examination, there will be a question, the percentage of carbon dioxide in air is ... And at that ... you are expected to write 0.03%. If you forget 10, you will get 0 marks. That was the answer I got. And this is the situation everywhere. And this is not true. Even when I started my career and wanted to satisfy the curiosity of children, we had a question-answer program. And I found a very interesting question by a 9th standard girl studying in the Municipal Corporation School of Bombay. And you know who goes to the Municipal Corporation School. And the question was very interesting. The question says, we have been taught that the human blood is of 4 types, A, B, AB, and O. And if someone's blood is to be given to the patient, then there must be a matching. I somehow don't agree with this. Because mosquitoes in my house don't bother about blood groups. They go on sucking whomever they come in contact. In the cinema theater, there are bed bugs sitting in the chair. For a matinee show, A group wala welcome. For the first show, O wala welcome. Second show, AB welcome. They don't die. They become fatter. What is this? Now, I have chosen this example to tell you because there is a conflict between what is taught and what is experienced. And therefore, the science is remembered only for examination. It doesn't get percolated. And therefore, we have a lot of superstitions and all those problems. So this is a main issue that we are trying to solve through using augmented reality. Now, I have questions and here's the technology. So we thought, let us make use of augmented reality to satisfy the curiosity of children and make them more curious so that our number of patents filed from India would increase within a few years. Now, I will stop my talking. He will demonstrate actually what this is. And we call this app as Aries, augmented reality for curious. Thank you. Right. Let me begin with the. Yeah. Oh, good. Let's begin with the question. What does the term or the word augment mean? Anyone? Enhance, increase. Augmented reality means enhancing the reality that we are into right now. Okay. Now imagine that we all go back into 1904. Okay. We are in the lab of Rutherford. Rutherford is actually discovering the nucleus. Okay. Try to imagine. Okay. Now, if you do that, that becomes virtual reality because we are completely immersed into this in his lab, right?
But what augmented reality does is bring the lab back to now. 15th of October 2022 was right. Sorry. You want to see Rutherford experiment right in on this place, on this table, on this podium? Yeah? Good. That will be in the near future as well. So let me quickly jump into that specific example that I was talking about. You see, the camera is on, right? It's alive. Are you able to see yourself? Yeah. What do I have here? This is the very paradox that the photonics used to discover. I mean, they came to some conclusion after the mathematical calculation. Here, where they understood that there is something positive in the gold coil which is reflecting the alpha particles. Okay. Now, this is a 3D model. I can walk and see it from any angle I want. This is the source of alpha particle. So if I touch on this marker, you will see the information about it. And this is that gold coil. This is the scintillation screen. And finally, this is the microscope through which the readings are supposed to be taken. Now, what we do is, we did a lot of research on how the interactions can be and how students would learn. Okay, just showing the 3D model, okay, it gives me an immersiveness definitely. But how do we go further? Okay, now I'll start the experiment. Now, if you can read what it says, get close to see through the microscope. So, what I'm actually doing now, I am actually traveling through the microscope. I will enter into the microscope. There you go. So what I'm building is the muscle memory. Okay, even though it was not physically in front of me, but virtually I could recreate the entire lab. So I can start reading. Okay, I can stop the reading. I can note it down. Let's say in 3 seconds, I found that there was 9,400 simulation. I'll go back. Now because of simulation, I can change the angle. You see now, I've changed the angle, go back to it. Now all of a sudden the simulation has come down considerably. Okay, let me start with the timer. And in 3 seconds, I'm going only 3. Right? I have the ability. This is where the breakthrough came in when they actually try to measure the number of alpha particles from the same direction as the source of alpha particles. So this concept is very difficult to understand when it's at 10 standard. Okay, you are on the same side of the source of alpha particles. So yeah, मेरे दिमाग में तो नहीं आया था. I think it is दिमाग में. नहीं. Okay, but here you can actually see this is source of alpha particle and you are watching it through the microscope on the same side. I'll go inside. I'll start the timer. Nothing happens. $11 seconds. This was the breakthrough. It takes 11 to 13 seconds for one particle to hit the positive. Let's see, at that time nucleus was not known. Okay, but that means there has been some positive particle which is rebounding the alpha particle. And this is what this is what we are trying to do is how to allow curiosity. What we do is, okay, I'm using iPad, but this application is available on Android, community free of charge. People with 5,000, 6,000 mobile phones can also be, they can also download the application and try to understand the phenomena. So this is one of the very famous experiments we created. And there are many others. This is very interesting. So we wanted to see how would okay, right. So if you see here, there is a save board. Okay. Now, as a student, I might ask you to blow onto the screen and see what happens. Okay. So what I'm doing, converting the wind energy into motion. That's how we start learning things, right? Okay. These are a couple of experiments that we are doing. It's not ready yet. This is launch. We are getting good feedback from the teachers. Interestingly, students love it, obviously. But teachers, what they believe is, the problem we have right now is most of the labs are untouched. Okay, when you go to the school, most of the students just stand beside the teacher and whatever teacher does, they have a look, right? Because obviously because of n number of reasons for this issue. We are trying to solve this issue with this kind of technology, immersive technology. And there are other things as well. And I'll quickly show you. How much time do I have, sir?
8 minutes.
8 more minutes, huh? Perfect. So here I have animal cell. So see, we are 3D living beings, okay? Our cells are not 2D. In biology, we see on a piece of paper. That's a cell. And we believe it's a 2D cell. It is not 2D, it's 3D cell. And then I can do the cross section. Yeah. So, I can go inside and see the chromosomes, the mitochondria, power of the cell, the Golgi apparatus. And the interesting fact is, I was showing this to a school in Ajmer, near college, to be precise. And this was back in January 2020, just before the pandemic. 2 weeks ago, I was in that school again, and the students and teachers told me they came into the impression that this thing was live on the stage, but it was not, right? So what is happening is, one of our hypotheses was this, that because it is in your physical place, this is actually an advantage, the benefit of augmented reality, because it is in my space, as perceived it is to be real. That is my perception. And that the students were so adamant कि नहीं सर आपने देख तो दिखाया तो बोला बहुत सही नहीं था वो सर मैंने ऐसा ऐसा hologram था वो बोला नहीं यार नहीं था वो मैं और literally half an hour it took and actually show them again. Oh, okay. So now this उनके दिमाग में बैठ गया है. Okay, that I have seen it. And one of the other experiments that we are doing is germination of seeds. Right? So you have a basic pot here. So somewhere in the pot there is a seed. Okay, and what we did is, so there is a slider on my left hand side. Okay, you might have seen germination of seed in videos. Okay, in videos what they do is they capture a video for 20 days and then they play it very and very basically they play it quickly. Okay, so what we did, we converted that video into 3D model. It's 3D model. Okay, but now what we have given is the ability to stop the video wherever you want. So if I stop it here, stop there. Okay. You can see now the roots are started growing. There are some students coming up. So I have the interaction. I can go back. I can start again. Now this whole process takes 45 days in the nature. Nobody has so much of time to watch, every single frame. So this is what one of the experiments that we have in this application. We went one step further, and I'll quickly show you the heart. This is very common example. Very common example. Animation is playing. You might have seen many people have doing this. But what's unique about this is now I want to see which heart is opening at what time. Very difficult to understand. Okay? What I can do is manually I can play it frame by frame. Now when this heart closes, this heart opens. That's why this was open. And that's how I can interact. And there are schools back in Mumbai, they have started using this very lesson to teach heart. Because according to them, it becomes, the teachers find it very easy for students to understand. And this is what augmented reality is. Now I'll quickly show you one of the secret missions that we are working on. Okay, it is secret. You cannot tell it to anyone else. Okay. It's heart. It's a 3D printed heart. Where is Prasad sir? Additive manufacturing. Okay, it's 3D printed heart. Okay. So I have this heart in front of me. Okay. See what happens in augmented reality. Right? Camera is live. I hope this works. There you go. So this is basically what we are doing is we are creating some toys where using augmented reality, you can virtually overlay stuff on top of that. So this is one of the products that we are bringing. But areas as such, areas is completely free of charge. Anyone can download, start experimenting with it. And me and my actually is my father. Okay, me and my father started this initiative. Huh? India. Nice one. Yeah, so we started activities of augmented reality, but now we have, they have obviously education is our DNA, but we also cater to the enterprise world. We have created some very impactful solutions for garment industry, auto industries, and whatnot. So that's our journey so far. Great work. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Right. Shall I remove my laptop here? Shall I remove the laptop from here? Shall I remove? Yeah. Shall I remove the laptop? Huh? 1 second. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Swapnil and Dr. Sudhakar. That truly was very enjoyable to watch. I'd also like to say I've been traveling back and forth with both Mr. Swapnil and Dr. Sudhakar these past couple of days, and just the conversations we've had in transit have opened my eyes to so many new avenues of technology and problem solving. So thank you once again, and that concludes track 1.
That was very, very powerful, Swapnil sir and Sudhakar sir.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
so much. Very energetic, and I think everybody loved in the audience. So, and we are hopeful that you bring more innovation to it. And today you've demonstrated something live, and we are very, very grateful to you, both of you. Thank you. And moving on to track 2, all of us are aware that we were struck with, the pandemic, and millions of students had to discontinue their studies. The learning process had been halted, and we, prior to being hit by pandemic, we were also facing quite a few challenges in the education sector. So challenges are going to be here, and we need to come up with new solutions with so we need to come up with something very innovative right now, because a lot of students, they stay in rural areas. So we need to bridge the gap between the rural education and what is demanded even in urban education sector. So moving on to track 2, which talks about challenges and opportunities in education. First up.
So before jumping into the track 2, my request to all the participants here, our guest, Mr. Venkatesh, is here. Are you there, sir? Yeah. Venkatesh is actually, he cancelled all his appointments with the Chief Minister and some personal work. He came all the way from London. Since he has to attend some other events now, he is leaving. He made a request because this is the first ever great event he attended. He wanted to have a good picture with all the delegates here, with the guests and delegates. Can we take a couple of minutes, take a picture, and again go back to the track 1? Thank you. Please come, all the people. Please come to the dais side. We definitely want to honor you, sir. Thank you very much. ప్లీజ్ ఐ థింక్ అందరికి అర్థం అవ్వలేదు అనుకుంటే ఒకసారి ఇక్కడికి వచ్చేయండి, ఫోటో తీసుకొని వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. ఫాస్ట్గా మళ్ళీ సీట్స్లో కూర్చోవచ్చు. ఒకసారి ఫోటో తీసుకొని మళ్ళీ సీట్స్లో కూర్చోవాలి.
Thank you, everyone. So for track 2, talking more about challenges and opportunities in education. Up next, we have very qualified speaker, Dr. Shaukat Ali Mirza, founder and managing trustee for Helping Hands. Dr. Mirza has over 24 years of management, training and organizational experience, both in corporate and academic cultures in Switzerland, USA, India and UAE. He is a demonstrated leader, communicator, problem solver and strategic planner, and carries a successful track record of continuous business expansion. So Mr. Mirza has just returned for good from UAE after establishing multifaceted universities in UAE. In fact, if you search for him, he would definitely feature for a lot of social work-related activities, and he has been working in association with various professional organizations. So let us all welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Thank you very much, one and all. Title is Challenges and Opportunities. I think it is a challenge for me to talk about challenges in 10 minutes time. One of my challenge has been already resolved. The tea break was not in the standard schedule. Challenge 1 is over. Coming back to the topic, before she raised the screen of 2 minutes, 5 minutes, it is expected that more than 2 billion people are going to populate this earth in next 2 decades. One can imagine the number of challenges that we could face related to water, sanitation, food, information technology, transportation, health, so on and so forth. We have 3,400 engineering colleges with 15 lakh of students. You must be knowing more challenges than me or better than me. We have challenges like quality faculty, lack of interest in research, lack of institutional versus industry interaction, mismatch between job requirements and teaching, challenge of numbers, challenge to access the information, challenge of pedagogy, but the most important challenge for any one of us is the challenge to change the mindset. Until now, we were having the belief that information is the knowledge. My previous speaker, demonstrator, has solved my problem to much extent. From civil services to the top class medical institutions, the examination pattern used to be, when was Mahatma Gandhi born, Dundee March ki date kya thi, number of bones present in your body, what are the components in the cell, which is the capital of so-and-so country, who is the president of so-and-so country, and whosoever could answer these questions faster than the speed what they answer in the Kaun Banega Crorepati used to be considered as the most knowledgeable person. In the process, what is missing is the creativity, the analytical ability, the total mindset. Today, we have created a very small device for a cost of about 3,500 rupees, Alexa. You put the button on, Alexa, when was Gandhiji born? When did India got independence? Who is the Prime Minister of Pakistan? Where is Panama Canal? How many number of bones present in the human body? What are the cell components? I am sure that she or he, whatever digit you want, will answer much faster than any human being. But today's problem is not the information. Just to mention that the last year civil services examination, there was a question. And if that question you can pose to Alexa, she cannot answer. You ask any number of what, where, how, which, she's ready to answer. But suppose if you put a question to Alexa, Alexa, agar aaj Gandhi ji मौजूद होते तो वो क्या करते हैं? Answer not found. The guy who was writing the UPSC IAS civil service examination, this question was there. He answered that if Gandhiji would have present in this world in 2022, probably he would have fight along with the Muslims of India against CAA, by which the government of India would have expelled him to Pakistan. After going there, he would have fight against the government in favor of the Hindus there who are in minority. So the government of Pakistan would expel him back to India. So with the revised definition of the citizenship, the government of India will take Mahatma Gandhi back into India. Mahatma Gandhi was a Baniya, so he could understand the GST concept much, much better than any other person. Mahatma Gandhi was a lawyer, so for any case, he would not have appointed Kapil Sibal or Anil Matugi. He would have fight every case on his own. This ability is totally missing in the present day context. So before I could, as I said, it is a challenge to speak of a challenge in 10 minutes time. I think 7 minutes are already over. So before we could tap on any challenge, the biggest challenge is to tune your mindset to understand what is actually needed. Don't look at the past, look at the future to decide about the profession. My previous speakers have given you a very good fruit of thought. Imagine as a student of engineering, I'm not an engineer, but I don't know whether the engineering students know what the meaning of the word engineer. The word engineer comes from the word genius. The meaning of the word genius is to find a solution to a problem. The question is, do you know the problem? We are still struggling to solve the problem within the classroom. We don't know what are the problems of the society. We don't know what are the problems of the city or the nation in which you are living. You don't know the problem of the humanity. So don't look at the past. In the past, for example, machine language was a course. Artificial intelligence was a course. Today, they are becoming full-fledged programs. So think, what were the subjects or the courses that you used to study 5 years back, 8 years back, 10 years back? They are going to be the full stream programs in the days to come. So if you have that much capability to think it over, I am sure that challenges are still less, opportunities are excellent and numerous. Thank you very much. I hope to meet you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would request Commandant Ram Vinod Prasad, Head an International Collaboration KIIT Group and former Director Gun, Ministry of External Affairs, to start with this speech.
Yeah, good morning to everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning to again once everybody who are attending online and offline. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Hari Ipanpalli, Chairman, Lead Foundation Global, Director IIT Hyderabad, for giving me this unique opportunity for participating in this wonderful international hybrid conference on achieving quality education on the occasion of 90th birth anniversary of 11th President of India, Bharat Ratna Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the President of the people. I got the opportunity to interact with this great personality at 3 different occasions. Actually, when he was Director Missile, operating from Sena Bhavan, New Delhi, he is the the one who took my interview for doing masters
sorry
in IISc
to
Bangalore.
interrupt you. Ram Vinod, sorry to interrupt you. Can you adjust your camera a little? You can, lower the headspace. Be in the camera. So we cannot see you, in full actually.
I'm operating from my laptop. This is the maximum. Now am I visible?
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, this is perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. So what I was telling you that I got the opportunity to interact with Dr. Abdul Kalam Sahab at 3 different occasions. He is the one who took my interview for doing masters in Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Courtesy him, I did masters in aerospace engineering from IISc Bangalore. When he became president, he came to Coast Guard Air Station Daman. There is something called presenting of president's color, which was given to the Coast Guard. So second time interacted with them. Just because any president was coming to Daman for the first time, entire Daman city, which is a very small city, you all must be knowing that Daman is known as plastic city of India. Entire city started signing like anything. So Daman public was very happy that just because of Coast Guard, our city is signing like anything. So this was the second interaction as a chief engineering officer of the air station. I got personally interacted with him. Then just after 3 months, again, sir was going to Surat University for convocation. So again, since there is no night landing facility in Surat, his aircraft landed in our station, Coast Guard Station Daman, and next day morning, he flew by Air Force chopper to Surat for convocation. Now coming to straightway on today's topic, challenges and opportunity for achieving quality education, I must agree that we are deliberating this very important topic when India is going to have presidency of G20 with effect from 1st December 2022 to 30th November 2023 for 1 year. And in this, over 200 meetings of head of state, head of governments level are scheduled. I will just talk a little about this G20. Basically, it comprises of 3 different tracks. One is known as financial track with 8 workstations, which are global macroeconomics policies, infrastructure financing, international financial architecture, sustainable finance, financial inclusion, health finance, international taxation, and financial sector reform. Now, second track is known as Sherpa track with 12 work streams. And in this category, our topic education, which is also a sustainable development goal 4, it comes along with anti-corruption, agriculture, culture, development, digital economy, employment, environment and climate, energy, transition, health, trade and investment, tourism. Now, third category comes, which is known as 10 agreement groups of private sectors, stroke civil society, independent bodies. So what I mean to say is that India is known for taking tough decisions whenever India is interacting or India presence is there in any of the multilateral fora. We are known that we raise our issue with very, very strong voice. You must be knowing that today also India is a non-permanent member of UNSC for the 8th time. And here our Prime Minister has categorically told that how long will India, the world's largest democracy and home to 1.3 billion people, will be kept out of the decision-making structure of the UN structure. Hence, entire globe has got lots of expectations from forthcoming India G20 president, as we are known for taking tough decisions and remove the existing paralysis of decision-making, due to which urgent requirements do not properly get focused. Now, here I want to mention that if really we want to achieve quality education, then all the stakeholders related to this, whether they are policy makers, education curriculum developers, education officials, students, parents, teachers, universities, colleges, etc., has to contribute their best for developing or creating harmonization, synchronization between new education policy and Industry 4.0. We all know that there is a wide gulf existing between academia and industries, but how to bridge the gap? People are reluctant to come forward. Little I will talk about NEP 2020. NEP is based on 4 pillars mainly. First is accessibility, second is equity, third is quality, fourth is accountability. New education policy will help students to develop a holistic approach. It promises multidisciplinary courses, more engagement in practical-based assessment, and more entry and more exit points. NEP will help students to be more well-rounded and skilled, but of course, the importance of specialization should also be considered. But the new education policy will give more emphasis on how the students are actually interpreting the learning. A little I'll talk about Industry 4.0, which is nothing but for IR also. The basic objective of IR 4 is to have higher productivity. And how it will be achieved? It will be achieved because of increased automation. IR 4.0 provides improved quality of life. It increases efficiency and pleasure of life. We all experience daily while ordering a cab, booking a flight, buying a product, making payment, listening to music, watching a film, etc., etc.
Excuse me, sir. There are just a couple of minutes. Yeah, just couple of minutes.
But you have given, I have spoken only for 3 minutes. You have given at least 10 minutes.
No, sir.
If you want, I will stop. You see, I am basically a defense officer. I have got a lot of experience in diplomacy. I am the recently joined academia, so you have to, I'm very happy that you have given me this opportunity. So I just speak 5 minutes. That's all.
Yes, sure.
So basically, operational technologies. Should I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir,
basically,
please.
Basically, operational technologies which are required very much in industries and information technology, which are salient features of good quality education, have to merge to create a more efficient technology-driven industry process. So now we all know that basic elements of IR 4.0, which so many speakers have already described, like artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, 3D printing, genome editing, etc., etc. So basically, when we talk about this modern education, then we have to implement something called about ICT, information communication technology, in our education system, because ICT is the tool which can accelerate progress on the sustainable development goals. When we talk about SDGs, and particularly SDG 4 quality education, we require profound transformation in thinking, actions, and solution. We require knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes that empower to contribute to sustainable development. Hence, education is crucial for sustainable development. However, all types of education don't support sustainable development. The education that promote economic growth alone is required, what we call it ESD, Education for Sustainable Development. So ESD is an integral part of quality education. ESD is holistic and transformational that addresses learning, content and outcomes, pedagogy, and the learning environment. Thus, ESD requires shift from teaching to learning. To achieve quality education in the 4 SDGs, it will be necessary to update on information and communication technologies, the module for learning teaching process theories. So now if we want to achieve Agenda 2030, SDG 4 quality education, we have to focus on learning. On this, UNESCO has come a very important report with a very interesting name, that is Learning, the Treasure Within. Actually, education is a treasure, and the 4 important pillars of education are: pillar number 1, learning is to know; pillar number 2, learning is to do; pillar number 3, learning is to live all together; pillar number 4, learning to be. Thus, understanding education not as a commodity, not as a private service, actually it is as a public good. But what is the indicator for understanding education in the public good? How a normal public understand whether education is in a public good? One good indicator is budget. If governments are serious about education, they need to fund education. I am not telling that now government is not funding. They are funding, but they are funding to only selected government institutes, which is not going to serve the masses. Our Prime Minister keeps saying, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Sahyog. These dialogues looks good, but practically if you see, we are very, very far from reality. As somebody was telling just now, we are having more private colleges, less government colleges, and the standards of private colleges is not at par with this IITs and all that. Then who will think about the upskilling of these students? So other than the government, we all, industries people, we have to think about that.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Actually, 2 weeks back, there was one seminar in Haryana, Gurgaon, organized by CII. There are so many industries people has come, more than 200 good industries are there. I happened to ask them, is there any represented here from any institution, government, any colleges? You'll surprised to know there was none. Then second question I asked, is there any industry here which has got any collaboration with any tier 2 or tier 3 colleges? Again, the answer was none. So what I'm telling you, for each and everything, we cannot depend on the government. We private people also have to do.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Very much, I think everybody is shortage of time, so I'll wind up here. There are so many things I can talk about.
Yeah. Actually, we want to also have collaboration and all.
That much forging of deeper collaboration by India, in industry and academia, then only we will be getting our real education. Recently, you must have heard about this UGC chairman. He also has told that all this high education institute need to design their courses based on the interaction from the corporates. This Indian Air Force is such an old organization. Recently, they have come up with a separate branch. What do you think? So far, they were not able to maintain their weapons. But again, because we have to change ourselves from ancient method to the modern one. So with this, I will just conclude my talk, and I'll pay my homage to Dr. Abdul Kalam on his 91st birthday. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. There's a lot to learn from you because you are from the government sector. You have much more perspective. What are the challenges that are being faced from the tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 colleges? But because of the time constraint, we are restricting you, sir. Hopefully, next time we would be able to hear you for much longer. Pardon us for interrupting you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us and gracing the occasion, sir. Thank you so much.
So now we would like to call upon the next speaker, who is Dr. Rajiv Sharma, who is the founder and Group MD and CEO of TASA Global. So he's an education entrepreneur, a seasoned leader and a technocrat with extensive 30 years of global business experience in creating and leading high-performance teams in strategy, expansion and growth. His purpose is to impact 5 million youth by his ventures. To enable the vision, he is developing an ecosystem of a tribe of global career and education advisors and community of global career and education advocates. Sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Just hold on. Can I put my laptop?
Yeah, that is fine. Yeah.
But how would it take Zoom?
I know you can connect here from internet then.
Sorry, a technical glitch. Give me a moment, please.
That's fine.
Sorry?
That will go to my email.
Okay.
It will ask for authentication.
That's my personal email. Capsule 2. Can you move the text now?
You just lock the screen and unlock it will come automatically. Or once.
Can I download it?
Download, yes. I'll share the screen for the online.
Sorry for that late. I think I've heard since morning pretty big things, large things. I will go to only basics and fundamentals. And what I'm going to talk today is what I have made it as part of my mission, part of my purpose. And yes. So if you, does anybody recognize that quote?
One second.
Okay, so 2007, I was part of the corporate world. I was heading one of the largest supposedly vocational companies out of India, a multinational called Aptech. I used to head their worldwide business. After that, I spent my time in one of the largest stock broking companies of India as an executive director. 2007 was I came.
Can we hear so that?
Yeah, so I put it there. Okay. So 2007 is what I actually saw this statement. Can somebody say whose statement is this? By the way, it changed my life. Dr. Kalam, what we are speaking of. Right? And look into it deeply. As a country, the educated youth is the biggest challenge for us. Do you agree or don't agree? In fact, a farmer's son, after he does a BA, BCom, cannot even go to do farming. Right? Rest all poverty, very good. So again, good challenge. By the way, I can continue. I know even Hyderabad goes, the electricity goes in Hyderabad.
Everybody can put on the top.
So this is one of the challenges in India.
In India.
When we have digital education.
Yes.
But I'll continue. The biggest challenge, and this really awakened me. 2007 was I started planning my career number 2. I was top of my career world, right? Corporate world, topmost companies of India doing beautiful work across the world. I said no. There is something for which, by the way, I did not go to US because I wanted to be in India. Even I did not go for management. I said something needs to be done. So I started doing research. And when I started doing research, I first went to our old, what we call is Puranas and Granths. So I realized the problem, if you look at it, is only one, majorly if you read everything, is lack of skills. Skills is the biggest problem of our youth. Now, if you look at Germany, you look at Japan, or any of the developed countries, there, even in school, they started working on their skills. So do you have unemployment issues there? We don't have. Look at Pandavas. Why do you think Arjun, when he went to Gurukul in a young age, was taught Dhanurvaj or being Gada? Because their Guru identified that this is what they are born with. This is their natural skills. This is what they can be trained and they can be the best in the world. So looking at all of this, I said, finally, it's all about skills. Internationally, if you go and work, degrees matter, but the most thing that matters is skills. If you have a skill, you have a job. If you don't have a skill, you don't have a job. However senior you may be CEO, you may be chairman, doesn't matter. And in India, if you look at it, our youth is starting with skills. Now, many of the children you're sitting here from IITs, I believe so. What are your skills? Even the topmost companies, when they take you for your
Yeah, I'm doing.